Yes, people. Welcome back to Lion in the Room. And I know it's been a very long time. It's been very close to a month. But we are back now. We apologize for the inconsistency, but we are here trying to give you great content, lovely episodes. Hopefully, this isn't going to be a very long one. Our camera unfortunately slipped off the tripod and now the lens is broken. So we're going to try and see how we can get that sorted before upcoming episodes. But I am your host, Leo, and I got my boy K. Chat to me, broski. How you doing?
Yeah, the camera's just on a bit of a hiatus right now, but don't worry, it will be back eventually and we'll sort that out. But you're just gonna have to deal with our lovely voices for today. So you can, listen to this maybe while you're on a jog, maybe, you're playing a video game, maybe at work. I wouldn't necessarily say at work, but if you're allowed to, then go ahead. Well, that's far I'm doing, man. I'm doing good.
You're doing good, yeah? That's good, man. That's good. How have things been with work? Like, what's life about, bro? Because 3 months into the year, man. I'm not gonna say it's been terrible. Everyone has their own opinions on what's going on in the world. But talk to me, bro. What's it like for you?
Well, I got promoted at work, so that was nice.
That's the second one, isn't it?
I think this is the third now. I'm not sure.
Third one.
Yeah.
Oh, you keeping quiet, bro. You keeping quiet. Congrats. That's nice. Oh, big congrats to Kate on this promotion.
Appreciate
one
it.
of the people I know, he's been working really hard, man. So when you work hard, you get the results. That's really just what it is. You work hard, you get the results. Anyways, continue, my bro.
Yeah, doing that. I've just been enjoying that. I have been going out more, trying new things, trying different things. Just trying to. Also, I've been changing like my style.
I see the fit. I was gonna just mention. I see
appreciate it, man.
This is the worst time now because you guys don't get to see this. Come on, he got the corduroys on, the nice shoes. He's got the overshirt on, clean t-shirt, the nice tone difference, bro.
Yeah,
he moving like a sales advisor. It's crazy,
bro, man. Like, y'all see it when the camera's back on.
He's blushing too.
Yeah.
Carry on.
But yeah, man. So I'm just trying to do new things. Gonna be 24 next on Monday. Dang. 6 more years till I'm 30.
Thanksgiving.
So
St. Patrick's. I'm not American. I'm not American. I was put out there.
I know. But yeah, just living, man. What about you? How's things going, bro?
To be fair, man, my camera just slipped off the tripod, bro. What else?
Okay.
What else can I really do? But hey, things are good. Things are fine. Aside from the unexpected hiatus, I really just did a lot of thinking. I went on a nice holiday and I really just got to rewind. I got to relax, but in relaxing, I just wanted to be able to find new ways to make myself better in this life, build up my confidence, work on my goals, work on encouraging myself to seek more, because it can be very easy to fall off the grind.
Yeah.
But that's something that I want to be able to acknowledge, because at any point in your life, you may not feel as hyped as you were before. So we just need to remind ourselves of how we can get back up. One thing my mom always says is like, you fall is cool. And in her words, she'd say, you got to get up and dust your bottom. So you got to clean yourself up, and keep moving. So let's just keep it moving. Lion in the Room, audio only session. Let's go. But hey, like I said, people, confidence. That's going to be the main topic for today. That is something that I feel Collar and myself have always tried to push to you guys. In every episode, we always want to show you what it means to be confident. You don't need to be brash. You don't need to be boastful or prideful. A little bit of those things are there because you know who you are, but confidence helps you or pushes you further in knowing who you are and what you're capable of. But before you know what you're capable of, you need to know who you are and what you're believing in, and that's what confidence pushes and that's what it stands for. Kay, talk to me. What does confidence mean to you? If you define confidence, how would you define it?
I just believe confidence is just basically the belief in yourself, in oneself, in whatever you may do. You may
Mhm.
not be the best at it, you may not always succeed in what you do, but confidence is just the belief that you can always give things a go. You can always do things, if you want to take a risk to accomplish a dream, or it's like when you want to go for a job interview and just believe that I could do this, just
Mhm.
I have to believe in myself, because you can't go for a job interview and not actually be confident in yourself. It shows in your body language, like how you stand, how you walk, how you talk, how you present yourself. If you're not confident in yourself, if you can't believe in yourself, why should others believe in you?
Exactly. That's very true. But, as we talk about these things, we already know that the concept of a confident individual has already been discussed, has already been pointed out. Like, there are facts about these kind of things. So, I got a few questions here that we're both going to look at.
Mm.
We'll take our time to discuss them. Now, confidence in society. Question number one. What role do societal expectations and pressures play in shaping in shaping the confidence levels of young individuals today? And how can we redefine success to alleviate these pressures? I'll read it again. What role do societal expectations and pressures play in shaping the confidence levels of young individuals today? And how can we redefine success to alleviate these pressures? So, societal expectations. So basically, we can already say that, like, in society, there is an expectation towards levels of confidence in terms of how people succeed.
Yep. I definitely do think that in terms, especially in the era that we're in today, in the previous generation, they didn't have social media, but when in our generation now we have social media, so everyone's more connected than ever. You can see what everyone is quite literally doing at any time, should they feel like posting it, and that has now given way to how celebrities, influencers, successful people are posting their lifestyle. They may not necessarily show the work that it took or how they got there. They just post the lifestyle. You might see someone in their Lamborghini or their Ferrari at such a young age.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, people who may be within that same age range see, oh, this person has gotten to this level. Why were they able to do it and not me? Then they might start to think a bit less of themselves, in terms of like it's creating this unrealistic expectation in oneself that
Mm-hmm.
by 24 I should have three houses, two cars, and
Mm,
whatnot.
yeah, true. But I also think before you reach the level or before you reach the point of, this is impossible, I think a lot of people start to chase the dream. You start off looking and admiring a person,
Mm.
admiring the quote unquote come up, their journey to success, and you realize that you want that. You
Mm-hmm.
don't really know how you're gonna get it, but you want it. And you have people chasing over these dreams. You have people chasing these dreams, chasing these aspirations, or chasing the lives that these celebrities are showing off. When it comes to society, the one of the simpler things I can think of is, like in Nige, we have what they call I better pass my neighbor, the
Yeah.
generator.
Yeah.
Now, this is not like bragging rights or anything, but a lot of people like to show that they have better items than others.
Yeah.
Now, because you live a bit more lavishly, there are expectations set.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you live in a society where everyone's living lavishly.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just come in there. A lot of times you want to live simple, you want to live cool, you want to live calm, but the expectations that have been set by the standards of your neighbors, it's now pressuring you.
Yeah.
It's pressuring you to probably get a bigger house, probably get some new fittings, probably get some new foundation put in.
I think actually, yeah, what you just said actually does make sense. I think to even add on to that, say for example now, you live in a community full of people. Your close friend within that community is suddenly doing extremely well for themselves, and the members of the community know you two to hang out together all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's now going to be that the person who may not be doing as well as the other may suddenly feel this pressure like, oh look, my friend's doing all these great things, why can't I do them? I better need to start, that's where they start chasing the dream, as you had mentioned before. I better need to, sit up. I need to do all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, they might start to, try and, find a way to just get to that same level. Now, some may actually get to that level. That may have been like the fire that they needed to really grind and hustle, and they may end up getting to that level. Some even exceeding it, and others may do that and not get to that level, and then that's where despair may start to come in. They may start to think less of themselves, like, I'm trying really hard, it's not really working out, or you're not getting the same measure of success as the other person did. So it's not like you're starting to think less of yourself. You're starting to see, okay, maybe I'm just a failure, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
The community, they may have expected you to do so well, and then you don't reach that goal, and it seems like it's like how we have in NBA what they call draft busts.
Yeah, the ones that are estimated to be high top picks,
top
then,
picks, and then
either bottom of the draft or like somewhere in the middle. They're just not as hot as they looked.
Some even get picked at number one. Like I think, I'm not sure, but there was a guy called James Curry. He was like a relatively high draft pick. I think. Actually, you know what? Let me use this one that I know. Kwame Brown. I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He really had an opportunity to be good, but
it just didn't work out. It's like when you're drafted at number one, like, I'm not trying to get too much on the tangent, but the point I'm making is that when they get to that pick, they're expected to perform very well, to be one of the best in the draft. And then it's like when they don't reach that societal expectation of them, that comes with, being in the position that they're on, it might make them feel less than, or, might not actually appreciate the achievements that they've already achieved. To come in number one in the draft pick is something to be proud of, but you might not feel that if you didn't live up to the expectations that, society may have for you.
But then to define, that's another thing with society and defining success, is that success comes, unfortunately, in so many different sizes. Not everyone's going to live the same life as the man that walks the road ahead of us.
Yeah.
The truth is, a lot of people have different paths that they're going to follow. So when society comes with their expectations, be it in sports, be it in the careers, be it in your day-to-day living, how you should dress, how you should move, probably even crossing the road, you come to understand that there are different ways of looking at these things. There are different ways of strengthening these talents. Working on people's confidence is very important, because you may be trying to instill some kind of doggish relentlessness, but you don't know that you're tearing down a person's confidence. You're not even building them up. Now, with the youth and being able to redefine success to alleviate these pressures, how can we do this? Because it's something that a lot of people struggle with. Like you've mentioned, you have a lot of people that either make it big and they are splurging, some may be splurging this lifestyle, some may be investing, some may be helping the community. But the truth is, they've reached the point that others have not.
I think, sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think with what you've actually said, I think the very first thing that we need to make note is that the definition of success, to me, is subjective. It's not a one size fits all. It basically means that everyone basically that's living needs to find out what their own definition of success is. What is success to them? For some people, success may be, and we touched on this in a previous episode, actually, success may be starting a family. Success may be making $1 million. Success may be just creating a viable startup, just creating a business that actually is not gonna crash. It may be you want to achieve do a 10K, do a 20K, climb Mount Everest. It could be whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem, what happens today is I think a lot of people, instead of looking at what they would define as success, tend to go with what society normally generally deems as success, which is financial gain. And
Yes.
so when people don't reach a certain level or unattainable outlier as to what social media tends to highlight, because
Mm-hmm.
social media will always highlight the outliers and not the average person.
Mm-hmm.
When they don't reach that same outlier, they then start to, think less of themselves. And as a result, they're using an unfair metric. It's like you have a general average and you're using something that's just way beyond the average. And then you're using it to measure it against yourself, when in all honesty, what you should be doing is actually sitting down to think, what is success to me? What would I be happy with? Set an actual realistic goal for yourself
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with a time frame. Work towards said time frame.
Now that makes sense, but you have to also remember that in this world there have already been there have already been set parameters.
Yeah.
Not everything will fall in accordance with how I want to succeed.
Yeah.
My success or my imagination, the way I see success all depends on what I've seen in the world.
Yeah.
You know? So when it comes to particular expectations, I would definitely say that society kind of puts a lot of pressures on these young people. Like when you look at money coming from the entertainment industry, if you have talent and you promote yourself and you gruel and you put yourself in every position possible to find a role, you will find yourself there. Sometimes it's hard for you to also motivate younger people, some other people to go do that. But sometimes you just have to be, there has to be a bit of pressure
Yeah.
on some people. There has to be a bit of pressure for some people to seek success, but not all success, not success comes from different places,
Mm-hmm.
truthfully. But there has to be a very good way to promote this in younger people
Yeah.
without them feeling as though they have to run and sell a kidney.
Yeah.
By selling a kidney, I mean
They don't have to be doing outrageous things
exactly.
in order to achieve, maybe be it fame or financial gain or whatnot.
Exactly. These are things that come in time, and it's really just a journey. You learn all these things and you gradually promote. You just grow.
I think to add on to that, actually, I think what we may just need to do is that to point out the fact that at the end of the day, you are who you are, and success is not an objective metric. It is defined by what you may see as success, and you just need to, honestly, while taking in everything you see, just to be able to determine what success is for yourself and stick to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But moving on, let's go into the second question. Still related to social media, how does the prevalence of social media influence young people's self-esteem and confidence? And what steps can be taken to foster a healthier online environment?
So with a few things that we had already mentioned in the previous question, first, I think social media as a whole tends to highlight the extreme examples. It tends to highlight wacky, crazy, the best of the best. Most people, when they come onto social media, they're not coming on to see your average Joe. They're probably coming on to see their favorite rapper who's incredibly popular, worldwide known and whatnot. And so people subconsciously always tend to measure themselves against whatever they may be viewing, as that's just human nature. Oh, that guy, is he as tall as me? Is he as large as me? Or, can he do this like I can? Or, people tend to always compare themselves. And so when someone is comparing themselves to an outlier or to a extreme example of something, more times than not, it tends to create this aura of self-doubt and just feeling of less than, as we have also been mentioning. Is the same thing in terms of like beauty standards, when you see IG models who have, BBLs and lip fillers and Botox and 40-inch bust down weaves and all that. People may see this and be like, okay, I want to be like that. Or, why don't I look like that? Not knowing this is an unattainable goal. It's an unrealistic example. It's an extreme example versus everyday looks.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and also another thing to note is that because with the way social media is today, people tend to are very comfortable with putting other people down simply because they have the ability to just be anonymous. It's not traced to your real world. A lot of people who may be unhappy with themselves tend to feel their dissatisfaction with their own lives as a result of what they've already seen online, to
Mm-hmm.
then put someone else down to bring them down to their level. Oh, I don't really like how I'm feeling today. Let me make someone feel as bad as I am so I can cope with my inability to achieve my goals. And so as a result, when you might see someone who's probably average looking,
Mm-hmm.
but because you've already seen so many IG models online, so many extreme outliers, they're like, oh, this person's ugly. They look like bricks. They look like a kind of tuna. And it's like, when that person who's being insulted sees that, it just, compounds the effect and continues to bring this person further down.
Yeah.
And as a result, it just continues to create this weird cycle of self-doubt, more people feeling down. So they want to reach out and make other people feel down.
That's true. One thing that I'd like to add, social media isn't completely at fault. Obviously, it's the way people use it.
Yes.
Because let's say 15 years ago, when social media was gradually being developed more and more, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for content creators. There was literally nothing for content creators. There was literally nothing for online influencers. Nowadays, these things are easily promoted. A lot of people are getting jobs from these things. A lot of people are are becoming notably famous,
Yeah.
more notably famous with the help of social media,
Yeah.
and their lives or the highlights of their lives are being promoted. These are the best parts of their lives, the best moments of their lives, the moments that will get them the best amount of money, finance, even if it's popularity. And we as, viewers, we as followers, fans, whatever you want to call us, you're watching that and you have dreams yourself. Social media promotes these lifestyles because it's the best looking lifestyle. Like you said, you're not going to promote the average Joe. And you have the youth watching these things. For a person's self-esteem to drop, it really makes them feel, that means it really has to make them feel as though their life isn't good enough as it is. As you were saying, it isn't good enough as it is. And the confidence levels go down. It really goes down, and it makes you question, it makes you wonder where these guys are at this point. But that's not the case. The real question now is what steps can be taken to, foster a healthier online environment. And honestly, I would let people know one is that social media is not reality.
Mm.
It is like an illusion of reality. Because if you were to live with your favorite influencer, you would see that they have the same 24 hours as you do. You have enough time to work on yourself and you have enough time to gruel and grind, but the life that they have may not be as luxurious as you
they're
think.
making it
Exactly.
to appear.
Exactly. It's not as nice as you think, and the road that they took may not be what you want for yourself. To boost a person's self-esteem, I would definitely tell them to work on what they would call tiny gratifications.
Yeah.
Give yourself a list of things to do. It could be a list of chores, but every time you achieve them, tick them down. It'll make you feel as though you're doing more. And it may be small. It may be just cleaning your room or a kitchen or a toilet, but it will make you feel a lot more confident. It will boost your confidence. And if you want to be a lot more advanced in something like that, let's talk about content creating. You're an influencer and you feel like your projects and the work you're putting out isn't going as far as you want it to. Keep giving yourselves these little gratifications. Keep looking to learn something new. Always give yourself an opportunity to be more than you are today, because that's how you find yourself in the positions that these influencers, these celebrities that you follow and you love are in now. Well, we don't know for everyone, but truthfully, that's just how it is. That's how I definitely put it out, man.
I also think another thing to add is I think it's very important to just, with the way social media is always highlighting all the extreme outliers and extreme examples, I think it's also important that social media should just highlight just the average, the average person, the average Joe. When I say this in the sense that, like, in terms of beauty standards, for example, we're always seeing the extremes, I guess maybe the supermodels, the
Mhm.
IG models, the influencers. But it's also good to just put out the average person as well, because at least someone can see, oh, okay, I look just fine. You look just about as fine as everybody else does.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, as you said, a lot of the things that you see on social media is illusion. You might have seen someone put maybe 7 filters on a photo before they actually posted it versus what the person actually looks like. Hence the term catfish.
Yeah. It really makes you feel like you could never look like that.
Yeah, because then when you see that, then you realize, oh wait, she's just like me. She just put filters.
Mhm.
You're just fine. Because when someone is constantly seeing IG models, it's creating this unrealistic beauty standard. And it's also important to highlight the fact that they did BBLs, they did Botox, they did lip fillers. It's all artificial. Like, be happy with who you are. Like, it's okay if you want to get those things for yourself, which is fine, but it's also good to highlight in terms of just the fact of someone who's just, themselves,
Mhm.
just natural. And when people see more and more of that, the average person, the natural, people would then start to stop comparing themselves to unrealistic standards and compare to themselves to the average standard.
True.
Oh, because I've been seeing this. There's some TikToks now of people doing just recording their regular 9 to 5s. Just like, oh, I get up at 7, go to work at 9, get to work by 9, work, do their breaks. And it's like, people see this and it's like, oh, it's just someone doing their 9 to 5, the same thing I'm doing. And then it's just like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not so bad. I'm also in the 9 to 5. I'm also doing my thing as well. That type of thing.
A lot of people just need to realize that social media isn't what they should use to determine how well their life is
Yeah.
going. Now, some people have issues. Some people may be in a rut. Like, some people may be really, really, they may just be having a really, really hard time. That's a different perspective. But your life isn't terrible to the point where it should diminish your self-esteem, or because there's a celebrity that doesn't answer the same name as you. That's all I would say, honestly. There are two sides of a coin, two sides of the same coin. Number 3, in what ways do early life experiences, such as parenting styles and educational environments, affect the development of confidence in young people? Now, when they say affect, I guess they're not speaking of just positively affecting or negatively affecting. So let's talk about the negative effects. Because when you think of positive parenting styles, you think of positive motivations, you think of encouraging your kids after failure, you think of just teaching them proper, bold actions. But when you think of the negative styles, I'd say, like, there are a few to
Yeah.
mention.
Yeah. There
There are
are quite
definitely
a few.
a few to mention. Let me give it a go. I would say number 1, negatively criticizing your child for a fault. Now, it's understandable, but it's not the same thing as scolding someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you do something wrong, you can be scolded as though you need to know that what you've done is not the right thing.
Yeah.
But that's completely different from calling them, stupid or a loser or you're just not smart or something.
You're never gonna be anything in life,
Mm-hmm.
or stuff like that.
You keep messing up. These are particular things that affect people, even in school as well. Because if you have a teacher that's meant to teach you something that you've never learned before, but because you struggle to learn it, they begin to belittle you. You are not going to grow in your levels of confidence. You're not going to build your confidence.
I think another one I'd actually like to point out, just another example I'd like to point out as well, is now I would say it's a bit, it creates this weird or the self-doubt. So it's like, say for example, you may get a certain score on the test and maybe your classmate or your friend does better than you, and then it's like, oh, that person there, does he have two heads because he did this? It's like, for me, it's like, the I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, because it's like it can create this feelings of jealousy or envy, like, why didn't I do as well as him? And then as a result, you stop appreciating what you've actually accomplished, what you've done, because to you it's like, well, if I couldn't do as good as that person, then I might as well not have done anything at all. And as a result of that, your measurement of success is not actually dependent on you. It's dependent on how someone else does on their test. You may get a 99, but if you're upset because someone got 100, then you're just gonna completely ignore the fact that you got a 99 in the test.
That one is very unlikely though, because come on, that's still an A though, that's still a pass. I get where you're coming from, and it's very typical for us, we're Nigerians, so we know that like Nigerian parents have said this kind of ish before, like, oh, look at this guy, does he have two heads? And like, it came from that child overachieving, the two-headed child, that person was overachieving, and the parents of the child that was obviously not satisfied with their child's performance. And at that point, they're choosing to question if, your classmate is so much better than you is sometimes not the best thing to do, but I wouldn't say like it's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Now a bad thing.
Best, but yeah.
Yeah, a bad thing is like, like I don't think just that is like belittling, the kid. It might make them feel a little bit bad, but it's kind of like, yeah, you think about it, bro. Is this person so special that you can't do what they're doing? Sometimes it's how they word it. But when it comes to negative criticism, like actually belittling someone, making fun of them, calling them names, imagine, let's say your mom calls you, oh, Kola, please come on, count this for me, or do this. Like, when you're a little kid and your dad sees you as you're about to go do that. Oh, no, don't let him do that. Hey, come, let your sister go and do that one. At least she won't have to count it like 5 times.
Yeah, exactly.
You see that? That's going to punch you straight in your... It's like so unnecessary.
Idiot, man. It's like
that's so unnecessary. But like when you're at the award ceremony, your end of year celebration, and you have that your friend Timothy or whatever, he's gotten 7 awards. He's gotten best puzzle making, best in maths, best in this, and you got your parents just looking at you like, but does Timothy have 2 heads? Like that's like. If it brings up jealousy, then there must have been something said, and there must be something in your heart for you to feel jealous about it. But then you're a kid. But I would say like that's not enough to belittle someone. But belittling someone will always bring their confidence down. Parenting skills and in the education system as well, it happens a lot.
Yeah,
it happens a lot, and it affects people so much. It affects people so much when you think of these early experiences. Bullying, another thing like that. If we have to think past, parenting and the education system, bullying, kids themselves, kids really, really reduce other kids' confidence levels. Because when you feel as though, you don't have what this other kid has, and that's the person that's throwing it in your face, that can also bring down your confidence. Or people making fun of you because you look different. Kids can grow up either being very tall or you are actually big boned. Big bone's different from fat. You're actually much bigger due to how your parents are.
Just carry weight differently.
Or you're much slimmer, or you're lighter, you're darker. people make fun of you for how you look, and those kind of things do drop your confidence. A lot of those things happen, and it's something that in some places people don't notice until they get older. But when you're older, it's kind of like you're at that point where you don't need to talk about it anymore, or it doesn't bother you. How do you feel about that?
I think, especially with bullying and just making fun of students in general, I do believe that it might it has an effect because it will determine how someone carries themselves into adulthood in terms of like okay, so say maybe someone was called a big head in high school, so they might be a bit sensitive to their head shape or how their head may appear in photos. It's I would say it varies from person to person. Some people may be very just confident in themselves, like, yeah, sure, they called me big head in high school, but it is what it is. My head isn't that big, or something like that. While some people, it may have deeply affected them to the point that it's created body issues for them because, oh, in school, I was told I'm fat. In school, I was told, "Oh, you're black like charcoal," or something like that.
Jesus.
Something. Yeah, I know, something crazy like that. But it's like because of that, then maybe if someone who was told they're black like charcoal, they may start using Caro White or something like that to lighten their skin or something. So it does vary from person to person. I would say it is something that would affect them, and they want to be different, or they may want to fit in so that they don't, they're not made fun of anymore. Some people might just be like, yeah, cool, whatever. Some people might see, okay, because they were called fat in school, they instead of, just being upset about it, they may actually want to stop being fat. So it really varies from person to person. But I would say that the general consensus is that bullying creates it brings people's confidence down. It makes them have unrealistic expectations of themselves, and it makes them less appreciative of themselves as people.
Very true. Very true. Now, what do you think about vulnerability? Because I got this question I'm going to ask you. Now, it says, how can embracing vulnerability lead to stronger self-confidence in young people? Now, being vulnerable is like letting something in. It's like letting your guard down. How does that lead to stronger self-confidence? Because no, I know it I don't feel like it does, but let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
Let's say you have, I guess you have some kind of insecurity, or there's some disadvantage about you. Let's say you're very kind. You're a very kind person. You've been taught to be kind. And people come to know that about you. Now you have a few friends, they love you for who you are. They would never betray you, manipulate you. But then you have this one person who's different from everyone else. But they're so close to you, it gets to the point that they take advantage of your vulnerability. And vulnerability is, that's your boundary. That's like something that causes people to really shelter up. You cover yourself up after things like that. I kind of agree with it a little bit, and I'll tell you why. Mainly just because you're not the one that told that person to come and take advantage. You're not the one that told that person to come and really just mess with your vulnerabilities. As a person, I feel like everyone will have a vulnerability as a person. You're just human like that, So for another person to come and treat you in a particular way, which could reduce your self-confidence, it shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because you're not the one that brought that in. Since it was another person that came there literally trying to attack you, cool. That's what they did. But for me, I'm going to keep pushing. I feel like being vulnerable doesn't mean that I don't feel like you need to be completely vulnerable to help boost your confidence, but you should be a little bit,
I
at
think
least aware of your vulnerability.
I think the reason why some people may believe that would I say embracing vulnerability or just being vulnerable is a way to kind of essentially okay, let me use an example. If someone is able to talk about their insecurities openly, some may see it as a form of strength in the sense that their insecurities do not control them to the point where they are even afraid to speak of them.
True.
Because when someone is able to be open and honest, it usually means that the person has nothing to hide.
Yeah.
And when you don't have anything to hide, more times than not, you have nothing to fear. Nothing to fear, nothing to hide, or nothing to hide, nothing to fear. So it's the same way how if someone is able to openly speak about, I don't always like how my feet look, but they are what they are. People then can't particularly use that against them because they've already put it out there that that their feet are whatever they may be.
Yeah, they call you Bigfoot out in public, and it doesn't really
So
matter.
it doesn't really matter because I already talk about my big feet all the time, so it's kind of redundant. So I think that's where some would then say without embracing the vulnerability, it can be a form of strength and confidence booster. Because if you're okay to speak about yourself in public, then you have to have some level of confidence in yourself to do that in the first place. And as a result, people cannot prey on your insecurities, and it wouldn't even be perceived as a weakness anymore because most people tend to hide their weaknesses. But here you are putting it out in the open for people to say, but like no one would, it may even create a feeling of someone who would normally try and make fun of your weaknesses that you've put out in the open may start to feel a type of way about themselves because they also have weaknesses, but they're not able to speak about them out in the open. So it may create, the opposite effect. Instead of you feeling bad, they may feel bad. So that's where I could see how it is a form of, it can be a confidence booster, as if you're able to do that, then there isn't really much else that could bring your confidence down.
I agree. I actually completely agree now. It's okay to be vulnerable, especially when you have overcome your insecurities. The things that you weren't okay with, you come to acknowledge and accept these things because there will be someone all over the world or anywhere around the world that will try to abuse you, manipulate you, harm you mentally, any of those things. But once you've shown that you have that fortitude, you're solid, like you are confident in who you are, regardless of whatever you felt was an insecurity or something that was different about you, there isn't anyone that can shake you.
Yeah.
There isn't anyone that can shake you. Be vulnerable enough for you to accept who you are. That's what I definitely say. Be vulnerable enough to accept who you are.
Yeah.
Not vulnerable to the point where everyone needs to know your weaknesses.
Yeah.
People will know, but vulnerable enough to accept that this is who I am. Because when I was a kid, I didn't like being tall because people used to make fun of me about being tall. But you realize your mom's tall, your dad's tall. Now my brother's tall, my sister's tall, I'm tall. Like,
it was bound to happen, to be honest.
Exactly. Like it's a strength. It's a flex.
Yeah.
People like it. So at the end of the day, those that made fun of you didn't understand or they were just jealous. So people, we keep it pushing. But this is the final question. These have been tough. These have been really long.
Yeah, I've been really thinking about these.
Well, maybe we just need to have more conversations like this. Number 5. What strategies or practices can young individuals implement to build and maintain their confidence, especially when facing setbacks or failures? I'm going to read it again. What strategies or practices can young individuals implement to build and maintain their confidence, especially when facing setbacks or failures? So you faced a setback, you face a failure, maybe you failed a test, you're living in boarding school, and you don't have your parents there to motivate you or encourage you or that older brother or cousin. What could you do to bounce back? You're going to class tomorrow and you're getting the second side of the test. What do you do? Like, this is the first thing I'll say, because I never really used to believe it. First off, oh no. I'll tell you what I believe. You pray.
Yeah.
Christians, you pray because there's nothing that the Lord cannot provide for you. Not saying that God's gonna remind you of everything you read, but sometimes you just need pride. Sometimes you just need confidence to calm yourself, and then you just remember. I really feel like that stuff be happening, bro. Like I could lose my keys and I'm complaining about where my keys are. I'm stressed. It's a setback, anyways. And I do a little prayer. I talk to God. I let him know what the issue is. It's probably messed up my timing, probably messed up how I wanted to leave. But after talking to him, I go probably by a different form of transport. When I come back, I'm calmer, not too worried about it. I've done what I needed to do. The key is just magically somewhere that's plain to see. When it comes to setbacks, I would say people need to learn tiny gratifications. I'm not too sure if I mentioned it at the beginning, but it's a very important thing. Appreciating little achievements. Those are things that help you with these setbacks. It continues to remind you of your achievements. It's like you build a Lego statue, depending on whatever size, you know how long it took you, you know
Yep.
how you feel about it. The next time you try to build it and it falls to pieces, you're not going to be so quick to demoralize yourself. Oh, I can't do it. You might laugh about it and remind yourself like, well, I built like 5 3 days ago. So this might just be a little setback, but I can do it. Another thing is, complimenting yourself in the mirror. Complimenting yourself in the mirror. I've always felt like it was cringe or cliche, but truthfully, it's something that you should do. I try it. I try to do it kind of consistently. I find myself talking to myself. I find myself talking to myself in the mirror, and I'm not talking about anything too crazy. It's just these are the things I want to do today. This is what I want to achieve. I can do it. Another instance, my dad was speaking to me because, like we were talking about with consistency, we hadn't recorded in a while. I had what my dad called a mental block, but I just felt like I wasn't prepared enough. But my dad was telling me that it's okay to feel that way, especially when you're working hard. But when these feelings come, when these setbacks come, you need to be able to remind yourself of your achievements. It's okay, this has come, but I still did this and I need to do that. I need to do that. I finished that project and I will accomplish this one. Everything just comes in its own time. What else can I do? You got anything, bro?
I was gonna say, actually, I was gonna say, saying the event where you failed the test, you always need to at least give yourself appreciation to the fact that if you gave it your best attempt, you gave it your best attempt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you did a half-hearted attempt. Be proud of the fact that you gave it your best attempt. Sure, you may not have gotten it this time around, but there is a lovely thing that you can do in this life, and it is to try again.
100%.
Always try again. Because a lot of there's a saying where it's like you don't really fail until you give up. Because here's the thing, with failing and trying again, no one actually remembers how many times you failed. They
Mhm.
only remember the one time that you succeeded.
Mhm.
For example, in law, there's this thing called the bar exam, the New York bar exam. It's said to be one of the hardest exams in the world. People can do this up to 7 times. They can fail it 7 times. Some may get it first try, some may get it second, some may get it on the 8th try. But here's the thing, when you do get it, no matter how many times it took you,
Yeah.
no one will care how many times it took you. They will only care about the fact that you did it. And so, when you do fail, it's okay to be, it's okay to be upset. Nobody is happy with failure.
Mhm. Mhm.
But shake the dust off, take time, cool down, look at maybe what may have led to your failure, why you didn't get it the first time, avoid these pitfalls and try again. And once you've been able to, let go of your fear of failure and always have determination and, resilience, these things come together and will automatically, boost your confidence. Like, yeah, look, it took me so many times, so many tries, but I still did it at the end of the day. Another thing I would say in terms of how to just build up your confidence in like a setback is like you said, just positive reinforcement, always just be appreciative of yourself.
That's the word.
Let yourself, that you're good, you're okay, you're enough, you are good as you are. Be around people who also encourage you as well. Do not be around people who like to put you down, because whether you like it or not, that will actually have a psychological effect on your subconscious. But if you are constantly around people who are always telling you you're really good, you're great, you're smart, you're whatever, all the good things in the world, it will start to reflect in how you carry yourself. If you're surrounded, it's like a guy being surrounded by a bunch of women being told he's a beautiful looking man. It's going to affect his confidence no matter what. It will. Whether even if he doesn't want to, like, show that he's appreciative, it will affect his confidence in how he carries himself. Because, oh look, these people said I look good, so I must look good. Obviously, be happy. You have to also believe that you look good, because funny enough, if you don't believe you look good, it tends to actually reflect outwards in a way that you won't actually look good. But if you believe you look good, then you do kind of look good. So yeah, I would say also be around people that will always encourage you and push you to continue believing yourself. But yeah, those are just a few things I would say in the face of a setback. One might do these practices to, continue to keep themselves up, to keep their confidence level up.
There you have it. And that is all the time we have for today, people. Honestly, in conclusion, confidence is, as we've said, believing in yourself, being able to see the setbacks and showing that you have achieved before, and these are not new experiences to you, being able to learn from setbacks, being able to accept your vulnerabilities, not listening to what people have to say about who they think you are and who you should be. Confidence is really just strutting in style, because you're the only person that can confidently live your life. There's no one in this world that can live your life better than you can. So in all honesty, why not live a life with your head held high? There will be difficulties. There will be instances where people were not motivated as young children. They were not encouraged. They were not put in situations where they could have grown. But now is the opportunity to be aware of our goals, to be aware of our skills, our traits, our talents, and to also be aware of how far we can go if we just believe that we are more than what we say we are. Self-esteem plays a very huge role when it comes to building confidence, because all it takes is a little belief in yourself. But there we have it, people. To let you know, episode 22 will be coming out after this. We have a special guest on as well, so tune in next time for that. But thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being a part of Lion in the Room. I am your host, Leo Edoche. And as always, my co-host, Kola Babalola. Thank you for being on the podcast, my boy.
No problem.
There we go, people. Lion in the Room, episode 21. Take care. God bless you. Peace.